What drives a young man from a community that often faces rejection for serving to stand on the front lines, knowing he might never return? This is the story of two brave Muslims, Bedouin soldiers who defied expectations, fought until their last breath, and left behind a legacy of courage that challenges stereotypes. Stay with us as we explore their journey, their struggles, and the extraordinary sacrifices they made for a country that wasn't always ready to embrace them. This isn't just a story about war. It's a story about loyalty, identity, and the unbreakable human spirit. From the vast deserts of the Negev to the bustling military bases of Israel, the lives of Ibrahim Haruba and Habib Kayan unfolded in ways few could have predicted. These two young men, Bedouin Muslims from communities that often felt isolated from the broader fabric of Israeli society, chose a path that defied expectations. Ibrahim Haruba was no ordinary man. Growing up in a small Bedouin town, he was known for his quiet determination and a deep sense of responsibility. Even as a child, his fascination with the military was apparent. He would wear military shirts, collect books with army symbols, and ask endless questions about what it meant to be a soldier. His father recalls, "I asked him, 'Why do you love the army so much?' And he answered, 'I want to protect my people.'" Ibrahim's dream was more than a personal ambition. It was a statement of identity. At a time when many in his community saw enlistment as taboo, Ibrahim was unwavering. He believed in the potential for coexistence and felt that serving in the IDF was his way of contributing to the safety and future of all the people living in Israel. He didn't see the uniform as a symbol of division. It was, for him, a badge of unity, a way to bridge the gaps between his Bedouin roots and his Israeli identity. Habib Kayan, on the other hand, was the bright spark of his family. At just 21 years old, he had already made a name for himself in the small Bedouin town of Hura. Known for his infectious smile and boundless energy, Habib was a natural leader. His teachers described him as someone who excelled at everything he put his mind to, graduating with honors from school and enrolling in a pre-academy police training program. But for Habib, the pull of military service was too strong to ignore. He didn't just want to succeed for himself. He wanted to be an example for others in his community. He told me, "I want to prove that we can serve, that we can be part of something bigger," his brother Mohammed recalls. For both Ibrahim and Habib, the decision to enlist in the IDF was not taken lightly. They knew the risks, not just in the battlefield, but also the challenges they would face within their own communities. Bedouin Muslims who join the IDF often face rejection or criticism from their peers, who may see their choice as a betrayal of their heritage. But Ibrahim and Habib were undeterred. Ibrahim, a husband and father of 4, once told his wife, "When I wear this uniform, I'm not just serving the army, I'm protecting our children's future." For Habib, the motivation was similar. "I want to be an example," he told his family. "If I don't stand up, how can I expect others to?" These two men, one older and one just beginning his adult life, shared a common vision, a belief in the power of service, a dream of unity, and the courage to break barriers. They didn't see themselves as simply Bedouin or Muslim or Israeli. They saw themselves as protectors, not just of borders, but of the values they believed in: courage, coexistence, and hope. Little did they know that their paths would lead them to become heroes, not just for their families, but for an entire nation. On October 7th, chaos erupted across southern Israel. Hundreds of Hamas terrorists stormed the border, attacking military posts and civilian communities. Ibrahim was stationed at the Nahal Oz post. According to testimonies, he fought valiantly, refusing to abandon his comrades. "He fought until the last bullet," says one soldier who survived. "He was determined to protect us." In another part of the Negev, Habib was stationed at Post Pega. He had been messaging his brother Mohammed on WhatsApp, describing the chaos around him. "They're here," Habib typed. When asked who, he replied, "Hamas, but don't worry, I'll call you when it's over." Those were his last words to his family. Habib stood his ground, defending his post against an overwhelming wave of attackers, until he fell, a hero in every sense of the word. Ibrahim was 39, a husband and a father to 4 young children. His wife still struggles to answer their questions. Why did Daddy leave? When is he coming back? The family feels his absence every day. Habib's story is no less heartbreaking. He was just 21, with his whole life ahead of him. Every morning I still hear his voice, his father says. He's gone, but he'll always stay with us. Both families faced a unique kind of grief, not just the pain of loss, but the sting of rejection. Some in their communities saw their enlistment as a betrayal. Even after their deaths, their families were harassed, with some people posting messages celebrating the loss. Why, Habib's brother asks, why can't they see that he gave his life for everyone, not just himself? For Bedouin soldiers like Ibrahim and Habib, the battle wasn't only on the front lines, it was also within their own communities and hearts. Their decision to serve in the IDF was not just a professional or patriotic choice, it was a deeply personal one, fraught with tension and misunderstanding from those closest to them. In the wider Israeli society, Bedouin Muslims often feel caught in a no-man's land. While they are citizens of the state, their contributions, like serving in the IDF, often go unrecognized or worse, met with suspicion. But the challenges don't stop there. Within their own communities, Bedouin soldiers face immense pressure. Some neighbors and relatives view enlisting in the IDF as betraying their heritage, or worse, siding with the enemy. For Ibrahim and Habib, these accusations didn't just come from strangers, they came from people they grew up with, people who should have supported them. Even after he died, Habib's brother shares, there were those who mocked us, celebrating his death, calling him a traitor. These sentiments are not born of malice alone. They're rooted in decades of complex history and mistrust. And yet, Ibrahim and Habib made their choice. They believed in something greater than the voices of doubt around them. For Habib, it was simple. I want to protect my people, my family, my home. For Ibrahim, a father of 4, the stakes were even higher. When I put on this uniform, I'm not just serving the army, he once told his wife. I'm serving my children's future. Still, the struggle extended beyond social perception. The very communities they fought to protect did not always recognize their sacrifice. Habib's father described the bittersweet nature of his pride. I'm proud of what my son did, but I'm ashamed of what people have done to Islam. They've turned it into something it isn't, something violent, something hateful. True jihad is to work hard, to protect, to give. What my son did was true jihad. For Bedouin soldiers, the uniform they wear carries more than just their rank or role. It carries their identity, their struggle, and their hopes for a better future. It symbolizes their belief that despite the challenges, they can bridge the gaps between two worlds that often feel impossibly far apart. But the question remains, can Israeli society and the Bedouin community meet them halfway? Can the state recognize and celebrate their service? And can their communities see them as heroes rather than traitors? Habib and Ibrahim were willing to take that risk. They stood their ground, not just against armed enemies, but against the invisible barriers of misunderstanding and rejection. And in doing so, they left behind a legacy that asks us all to think deeply about what it means to belong, to serve, and to sacrifice. Ibrahim Haruba and Habib Kayan weren't just soldiers. They were symbols of hope, bravery, and a vision of coexistence. Their sacrifices challenge us to reconsider stereotypes and recognize the hidden heroes among us. But their stories also leave us with questions. How can we ensure that those who give so much to this country are embraced, not ostracized? How can we bridge the gap between their communities and the state? What do you think is the most inspiring part of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel, share this video, and consider clicking thanks or joining our channel to support our work. Together we can bring more stories like this to light and honor the unsung heroes among us. Thank you for watching.